One of my favorite things about when we travel, especially a place like this where right now I don't have any cell phone coverage, no internet, I don't have a computer anywhere near me, which is very unusual, is to spend some time either reading or writing or a combination of both. And sometimes I kind of joke that when we go on a longer trip like this, I call it the Great Reset, because it pulls me out of my day-to-day routine, which can be where everything is kind of out of habit. Get up, make coffee, get dressed, go to work. There's not a lot of thinking, there's not a lot of like going beyond the surface. When I do have those spaces of downtime, it's usually filled with some sort of entertainment or distraction, like watching YouTube or scrolling through things on my phone or reading articles. When we're out here, I have no choice but to spend time with my thoughts and try to figure things out. And I think especially one of the reasons that we tend to go on trips for my birthday or for Pat's birthday is to give us a little bit of space to think about things, because birthdays are kind of like a time of self-reflection. It is starting to rain again. We kind of just took our time this morning. We don't have to be out of here technically until 3, so we were just taking our time, and we have to kill a little bit of time before we check in at the other place and meet up with the group of people. So we're probably going to start heading out in a few minutes and try to find somewhere that we can charge the camera battery, because this camera battery is about to die. This is the only one we can't charge off of USB. All the other ones we charge off of either this little portable one, or we can plug into the Jeep and charge, but this one needs like a regular plug. Okay, all ready to get on the road. From Ricketts Glen, we were heading just over 2 hours west to Bald Eagle State Park. We were staying at the Rustic campground on the opposite side of the lake. Now, we're pretty used to traveling and camping in the rain. If you live on the East Coast, it's just a normal thing that you can't avoid. But being that this was kind of summer, if you consider after Memorial Day to be the official start of summer, we were not expecting this cold, rainy weather at this point in the season. It was really pushing us to our limits, and this was the first time that Andy had tent camped since he was a kid, so it was a rough weekend to get back into camping, especially since our heater was still broken.
Actually, I forgot. I got a cover for the Jeep. I'll put it right here.
Yeah, okay. Got the tarp set up, which is an absolute necessity. Andy's tent is right over there. And we retreated into the Scamp because it has just been constant rain. And so dry camping. We don't have any water or electric. Actually, where's the water? Do we have like a water spigot or something?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
I'll
go grab some water. Yeah. But we're right next to the pit toilets, so at least we can do pit toilets and maybe find a dump station. But I don't know if we're going to use our tanks here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we don't have to use the bathroom. We're going to go on a hunt later for some showers. Yep. It is cold. Yeah. I can't believe our heater's broken. This is really terrible. Remember before we left, I was like, oh no, like...
Summertime.
It's almost June. It's usually like 90 degrees, 80 degrees, you know, in that ballpark. But at least we stopped at WEGMANS on the way and got some food, so I'm heating up some mozzarella sticks, and we got a bunch of like produce and stuff. WEGMANS is pretty awesome. So let's hope tomorrow is a
I'll take broken.
less rainy day, yeah.
Broken clouds, broken weather. That'd be great.
As long as the rain breaks a little bit, because today is just like steady, non-stop soaking rain. Like soak through your raincoat.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm wearing now. But.
First time I woke up this morning, it was not raining and I was so excited. And then I went back to sleep and then I woke up and it was raining again. I was like, no. Oh, everything's wet.
I'm putting winter.
Everything. I have all my layers on.
I was like, I put this in there just as like a, yeah, it doesn't take up much.
We're not going to need hat and gloves, but hat, gloves, winter buff. I'm freezing.
Yeah.
This is summer. Okay, I think the rain is slowing down for now. I know.
We have the tarp system's working.
Our tarp stayed up overnight. No crazy thunderstorms, and Andy had a little bit of a leak, but I think he said he fixed it. He was able to move his awning over. It's the kind of rain where it's just so heavy, it's going to eventually find a spot to get in somewhere.
And if you can, especially if you're car camping, highly recommend this setup.
The awning. Yeah. Once everybody was up and ready to go, we headed out on our off-road exploration. Now, we weren't doing anything crazy on this trip, mostly just fire roads and forest roads, but Shannon put together a great route so that we could see some things off the beaten path in this section of Pennsylvania. We came to the town of Lock Haven, which is home to Lock Haven University, and the town was very quiet because school was out for the year, but we enjoy the views of this town nestled into the mountains of Pennsylvania, right along the side of the west branch of the Susquehanna River. As we continued on the trip, we crossed over the river and we followed along the other side right along the water for some very nice views of the river. Oh, the railroad tracks up there, okay. Oh, that's neat, between the river and the railroad track.
Awesome house. Like, look at this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that log cabin.
That's my shit.
Oh my gosh.
Right on the water. Drop in.
Good kayaking every day.
You could have like a little crew boat, like a skull right here. Like get you in shape.
Sorry about that. Following the app on my tablet, sometimes the turn-by-turn instructions kind of lag a little bit.
Jeez.
So does your walkie.
Is that it?
It's the furnace. Pretty cool.
I guess.
We headed out of the town and up into the mountains, into this very deep, thick forest. The only thing that we would see was the occasional hunting cabin, but most of this is untouched forest. In our group, there were quite a few different vehicles. There were a couple of trucks, there were a couple of modified Jeeps to do off-roading, and then there was us in our stock Jeep Cherokee. So the roads were nothing too extreme because
This was designed for everybody to just come along and enjoy being off pavement. And this was our first real trip of taking our Jeep Cherokee off pavement, so it was a very good introduction. Since we still had to hook up the Scamp and get it home at the end of the trip, our main goal was to make sure that everything stayed in working order on our Jeep so that we could get the Scamp home. Compared to our usual activities of hiking, this is just a completely different pace, and it's amazing how much more ground you can cover, how much more you can see in a day when you have a vehicle to get where you want to be. Heading down the other side of the mountain now, and it stopped raining. We're really lucky. It's still like 49 degrees out, so it's still pretty chilly, especially for this time of year, but that's I guess the lesson of the mountains. You have to be prepared for all weather, all times of year. But the good thing is, since we have a bunch of people all driving in a row, since the roads are pretty damp, there's not a whole bunch of dust, because that can get kind of annoying. But, and the forest looks really neat because of all that rain yesterday. Everything's like damp. Pretty cool. At this time of year, all of the foliage is new, and it has this deep emerald green color. Especially with the rain and the cloudiness, it really enhanced the greenery. And it just felt like we were driving through this sea of green.
Alright, now those who are worried about pinstripes, maybe.
We came down from the mountain and found ourselves alongside the river again, in between the railroad tracks and the river.
You just have to look both ways.
Listen.
Listen, look both ways.
About 5 miles of it along the river.
I know Patrick would love it if we could keep Metallica in the background as the soundtrack to this video, but copyright rules being what they are, we definitely can't do that. We kept driving along the side of the river until we were able to find a spot where we could stop and take a break and stretch our legs, because we had been driving for a while at that point, and to get an opportunity to take some pictures of the Jeeps. We headed back to the vehicles after getting a little bit of a break because we had one more big stop on the trip, and so far the rain was holding off. I know, taking them off, putting them back on, taking them off, putting them back on.
That's the way it is. Like,
We were going up another mountain to Heiner View State Park, and this is supposed to have a spectacular view. We were just hoping that the rain would hold off long enough and the clouds would give us just enough space to take in that amazing view. Oh, we're going up there. Okay. But for that, you're going to have to wait until the next episode. Thanks for joining us on this trip through Pennsylvania, and we'll see you in the next video which will be the last one in our series of exploring eastern Pennsylvania. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, you worried about you and me, the injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again, and though time flies, we have enough to realize this bigger than the both of us.